Okay, but can I just start out by saying that being able to look up where my tripod is through my content history is pretty darn handy. Hi, Yins. We're gonna do a thing today. And for this thing, we need an empty pill bottle. These were gummy vitamins, some string, a sharp cutty thingy, the top off of a coffee. You know, that really heavy duty, like zip or twist tie kind of thing. Of course, Randall's going to do that to you. That comes on the top of coffee. Yep, this thing. And my safety measure is cut-resistant gloves, you see? Okay? Because doing this in front of a camera is a little bit distracting, to be perfectly honest, and I'd rather not risk it. So there's my fancy size 7, which is kind of a small size. Cut-resistant gloves. Now, personally, I want this to be faced away. So the idea is, and I'll show you it in action with a couple of them that I already made after I've made this. We're not going to hang this exact one the whole way up, but I'll show you it in action. This is a no-spill quail feeder, but you knew that because I'm going to make that part of the title somehow. So a little bit high up on the thing, I'm going to start cutting in. Oh, this is a thicker one, so I'm extra glad that I have gloves. Excellent. So I'm going to cut the wall a little more than halfway up from the middle of where I want the side to be, and then from the middle back the other way. Then we're going to make basically like an arch. You can hear the birds in the background. And I do try and start pretty high up. Maybe I need to start a little farther down on this one because it's a very tough customer of a bottle. There we go. We're starting to... There we go. Okay, that was more difficult than it needed to be. Sheesh. So now we're going to kind of arch it down to the top of where I initially cut it. See? And that doesn't line up exactly, so we're going to come in from this prior cut and get them to connect. See? I'm going to re-enter here. And arch it down. Try and get it to connect again. Round about where. And unlike last time, I have tested this already. So I can fully vouch. It works, and it works really well. I'll show you how this whole thing goes. Alright. I'm going to do one piece of string. It's like 6 or 8 inches. And then we're going to need another one a little later on that's going to be strung through the ceiling of the cage. Okay, but this one, now that I've folded and put that away, we can take the cut-proof gloves off, at least for now. I think I'm done with that part. Only other thing I have to cut is string. Probably should have been 8 to 10 inches. So what I'm going to do here is, this is a coffee top, and I'm folding it in half and pinching it. Now, in all technicality, this is actually the top off of a bag of cookies, but the other one is made out of that coffee top, so I know that either of these things should work. The idea, though, is it needs to be that really sturdy stuff, because what we're doing is making a hook out of it. So I took it from just straight, and I folded it like kind of like the number 7. Okay? And then I'm going to tie this with just a square knot, which is a simple overhand knot, and then whichever string ends up on the higher side, you're going to keep it higher and do another simple overhand knot. And an overhand knot is the type of knot that you start your shoelaces off with. I think I'm realizing something here. This is slightly different than the one I made earlier, and so I need to fix that. We are going to cut another piece of string. Here we go. And we're going to fish it true. Would have been easier to have it in there already. Going to fish it true. And this is just going to be an overhand loop, which is like two strings together being tied the way you start your shoelaces, basically. Then we're going to put this folded in half thing through this. See? And then we're going to make the number 7. And then, voila, the hook actually clears the freaking bottle. Okay? So, the idea is like that. I then want this to be aligned in such a way that it is aligned with this gaping opening. We're going to get this thing out of here. Okay, and so the quail are going to stick their heads in here and peck at food that's going to be level like this. And I am going to be able to see how much food it is because this one's clear, and I'm kind of excited about it being clear. Might need to bring this down a little bit more. Possibly. I'm of the we'll see how it goes kind of camp right now. But you do need to have the string, in order for the counterbalance to work the right way, you do need to have that be on the side where the food is. And then I make another loop through the ceiling of the cage, and when they peck in it, it can't spill because it's tilted away from them, but they can still get at their food and their heads inside there. So let's go see the cage. I'm going to cover you and we're going to go see it. Sound effects so you're not bored with the black screen. All right, see? So this is a non-clear version right here. And I just scoop food right in there. It's set up so that the string's on this side. There's the thing I made out of the coffee. And the same sort of string situation. They can't knock it over because of the way it dangles there. Even when they run through, it just swings and, you know, hits a bird in the back or whatever, and it changes direction, and they peck at it and think it's a toy. So that's all very nice stuff. I'm rather a fan of how, you know, my eye health gummies have made this very, very easy, and I'm quite pleased with that. So there's the quails. There is an easy, all recycled, well, the string isn't recycled, but you could recycle string, or some sort of cordage. It's just a very, very easy, all recycled materials, small, no spill quail food. And I've just been using, actually, this cup to refill it, but I had accidentally let it run empty, so I figured I'd let them have the cup until they were calmer about there being food, because you know how they peck at each other. This one isn't quite as good. I have it right on the side instead of hanging from the ceiling. And the reason I say it's not quite as good is because when they run over it and push it, if they run this way and push it, it does dump the food out. And the food ends up down in the poop tray. So, this is like the freaking injury cage now, because this is the cage Dot came out of. And these are Dot's prior roommates, basically. I'm sorry, Pearly. Pearly keeps itching her head and making it bleed again. It's very frustrating, baby. I wish you'd just let it heal. And then there's this cage. And there's that guy going quack, quack, quack. So yeah, this is basically because Dot was in here, this is the injury cage. But this isn't as good when it's tied like this, because instead of just swinging around like this one does and not spilling, this one can be fully tipped pretty easily, and I've watched them do it, and then it dumps the food. So this is what I recommend right here, and this is what I'm working on making. The only reason I haven't done that with this one is because I had that allergic reaction to drilling into this press board, and I'm not ready to put more of that sawdust in my house. I'm sorry, Phantom Pearly. You sad bird. There's everybody. All right. Thank you so much for visiting the Cliffside Quail again. The Cliffside Quail in the kitchen or something like that. I don't know. I'm having a tongue twister moment. And I just wanted to share. Okay. Thanks, everybody. Take care.